Hi there, and welcome to a Penn Central 99 production. I'm Terry, and on this edition, we're going to upgrade and weather an old 40-foot boxcar. So sit back and enjoy the video. For our next project, we're going to make some modifications and some changes to this old 40-foot boxcar. This is, you can see the name right there, this is an old Mantua, or Mantua, depending on how you pronounce it. I pronounce it Mantua. But this is an old Mantua 40-foot boxcar. I think a mom found this at a flea market for $5. You can see here we still have the old trucks and plastic wheels on it, the old pizza cutter wheels as some people refer to it. You can see here we got horn hook couplers, plus they are mounted to the trucks, which sometimes has a tendency to cause problems and derailments. So throughout the upgrade process, what we'll probably do is take that coupler box off of there and attach the coupler box to the frame itself, or the undercarriage or the underbody. But this is not a bad car. It still has both doors on each side that work and function. The roof is pretty much intact. There's nothing wrong with the car. This walkway is one piece attached to the roof, unlike some cars that comes as a separate piece, but there's nothing wrong with this car. It's going to be a nice little modification and change and upgrade. And you can see I've already got some metal wheels. These are spare wheels that I've taken off of some other rolling stock. There's nothing wrong with these. I just don't prefer these on some of my other rolling stock. Got the metal wheels with the plastic axles. These will be great for this modification and change. Should go pretty well. So not only are we going to change the trucks and the wheels and the couplers out, we're also going to weather this and try and give it some detail. It's not a bad car, but we can make it better. The reason I've chosen this car is I want to start experimenting and practicing with green-based rolling stock, because sometimes the base color of the car, rolling stock, or engine that you're doing can be a little bit tricky in getting different colors to show through. So like I say, I want to start practicing with green-based rolling stock and colors to see what we can do with it. As with most everything that we do, we need to take this apart and clean it. Here you can see part of the reason. You can see the dust, that has accumulated on just the top of that from years and years and years of either sitting around or being used. So we need to take it apart and clean it. These doors will just snap out of those plastic rails there, or runners. They'll just pull right out of there. And these older style trucks are the pin type. And they just pull straight up out of there. Just don't pull up out of there. See that? And you can see the pins there on these types of trucks that just fit down into that hole. So they come apart pretty easy. I'm just using one hand holding the camera and one hand snapping these off. Now I believe this floor is glued into place with these 4 pins here, so I don't think I'll be able to pull that floor out of there. I would have liked to spray paint that a flat black to get rid of that glare or gloss shine, but I think some weathering powders and some dull coat should take that shine away. But we're going to go ahead and get the rest of this apart, and we're going to wash it up. While we have the trucks off, we might as well just go ahead and cut these horn hook coupler pockets off here. Basically what I'm going to do is this little groove right here is where I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and cut that plastic out of there, removing these coupler pockets. And what we're going to end up with is this right here. Here you can see I've already got the coupler pocket off of this one. Just like I said, I'm going to put the coupler pocket on the boxcar, the body itself, and all I need to do is get a file or some sandpaper and just file that down smooth a little bit. Shouldn't have any problems with it, but we're just going to go ahead and make the modification now. No point washing something we're just going to cut off anyway. After cutting the old coupler pockets off, there was just a couple of sharp edges on these trucks. So what I did is I went and grabbed an old fingernail file, and I'm just going to run this across there a couple of times. It doesn't take much, especially since it's plastic. And fortunately, this fingernail file fits perfectly in between the trucks. So just to take those sharp edges off, a couple of passes back and forth with this fingernail file. I don't want anything to catch on the bottom of the car or the truck to make a excuse for derailment or whatever. So there's a little trick and a tip for you. So before your wives and girlfriends throw these things in the trash, they're plenty good for the workbench and filing down plastic pieces and parts. For those that have never done this before or put together a blue box kit, taking these doors out of these cars is relatively simple. This particular rolling stock here only has 2 attachment points. It's got an attachment point there and an attachment point there. The Athearn blue box kits have 3 attachment points. There's also one in the middle, but this one's pretty simple since there's only 2. Of course, the most flex or give is going to be in the middle here. So what you want to do is just pull that down. You can see the door is already starting to shift, and that's just going to pop right out of there. Removing that is up to you. I'm going to remove it to wash it and clean it up and weather it a little bit. For the next step in the process, I'm going to go ahead and spray paint the wheels in the trucks. Since it's going to take about a day for them to dry, I might as well do them first. They've been washed and dried. You can see I've taped the axle journals on. You can't see the opposite side there, but the wheels are loaded up in my wheel masks. I've got the trucks on some dowel rods here or some skewers, and it's time to go paint. I'm going to use that chestnut brown just like I have in the past and shoot these real quick with a light coat just to make them look weathered. I just got done with a quick coat of spray paint on the wheels in the trucks, and you can see here we'll shoot it lightly just enough to make a change. Okay, so for the wheels we no longer have that shiny bright metal, and for the chucks we no longer have that black plastic look. So just a real quick light coat of spray paint with that chestnut brown, just enough to make a change. It doesn't have to be too overly thick or too overly heavy, but just enough. Okay, the next couple of steps in the process after I painted them with that chestnut brown is I also sprayed them with a coat of dull coat because I was going to use some weathering chalks and I needed the chalk to have something to bite into or grab onto. So after spray painting with the chestnut brown, spray it with dull coat. Not only does its job, it dulls it down, but it also gives a surface for your weathering chalks to grab onto. So, and after the dull coat dries, I took some black weathering chalk and put it on the wheels there, and you can see how it turned out. And not only black weathering chalk on the trucks, but I also used some light brown rust material and weathering chalk and put it on the trucks there, especially around the springs and the grease openings, to give it a little bit of rust appearance. I think this process for the trucks and the wheels is turning out pretty good. Here's a nice close-up shot of the trucks. Chestnut brown spray paint, dull coat, black weathering chalk, and a little bit of light brown for some rust. There's a close-up of the wheels. What I need to do is, or what I want to do is fade the paint and the lettering to make it look like it's old and aged. As you can see here, the paint scheme and the lettering on this Boxcar is still pretty crisp, you know, but it needs to be faded and weathered. So what I started to do is I started to take some rubbing alcohol and a cotton ball, a 70% isopropyl rubbing alcohol and a cotton ball, and just start rubbing the sides and the roof to fade that down a little bit. Now, I know what you're thinking, because I've already thought it. Man, that looks like crap. But believe it or not, when I take some jade green weathering powder or weathering chalk and put it on there, it actually doesn't look too bad, because I've already experimented with it. I just washed it off so I could show you what the rubbing alcohol did to the paint and the lettering on here. So let me finish giving it an alcohol bath, and then we'll show you what it looks like with a little bit of weathering chalk. Here's an update on the process. I got the trucks and the wheels finished and put together. The reason I put them together is I actually put them on the Boxcar because I needed to install the body mounted couplers, and I wanted to check the height to make sure it was okay before I went on in the process. But I think the trucks and the wheels are turning out pretty good. That's that chestnut brown spray paint, black weathering chalk, and a little bit of light brown weathering chalk on the springs and the grease covers there to make that look pretty good. I think they turned out pretty well. Now, moving on, I painted the doors for the Boxcar. What I did is I got my spray paint out, and this is Hunter Green spray paint. I spray painted the doors because I wanted the doors to look like they had just been recently replaced on the Boxcar. And you can see there it says satin, so there's a little bit of gloss or a little bit of shine to them, but once the paint dries and I spray that with dull coat, that'll tone that down quite a bit. And what we did here, I got my jade green weathering powders out, and remember all those alcohol streaks from the alcohol bath, or shall I say streaks from the alcohol bath. So I put a coat of weathering chalk on there, and you can see that toned that down and blended the streaks together pretty well. Like I say, the idea is this is going to be a aged and used Boxcar that's been sitting out in the elements for a long time. I want to get that faded look, faded weather look. Brand new set of doors so she can continue service. But I think we're moving along pretty well. I'm pretty impressed at how the alcohol streaks blended together with the weathering powder. Pretty impressed with that. So I'll probably put another layer of weathering chalk on there, just to tone it together, make it a little bit more faded, and we'll be moving right along. Here is the last three things that I've done to this. I put a black wash on there, and I don't think that turned out too bad. Actually, I think the black wash looks pretty good. So I got a black wash on there, got some rust spots, and I also tried a patch out job with some decals and some letters. It didn't turn out too bad. I mean, the patch out didn't turn out too bad, but I think it could be better. But let's flip this around here to the other side. And here's the other side. Like I say, I think that black wash turned out better than I expected. I think that looks pretty good. Well, here's the finished product, and I don't think it turned out too bad. Like I say, that black wash really made the rivets pop out, and I think that looks pretty good. All I did is put everything back together, put the wheels on there, but before I did that, I gave it one last coat of dull coats to seal everything on there, and I think that looks pretty good. I don't think it looks too bad. Let me turn this around here so we can take a look at the other side. See, I don't think that looks bad at all. I mean, of course, some things could be done better. I don't think it's bad. The doors don't stand out as much as I'd like them to, but like I say, I intended to make them look like they were just replaced on an older style car. But I think that turned out pretty good, and probably could work on my rust spots a little bit. But hey, it is what it is, and I don't think it's too bad. Well, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. As always, please feel free to leave comments, whether good or bad, right, wrong, or indifferent, because I am new to this weathering phase of model railroading, and I'm always learning as I do things. So like I said, please feel free to leave comments. And as always, thanks for watching.